Hello, hello. Kidoki. So, how's everybody going? How's everybody doing? Doing okay? Doing a lot of comments about the test stuff. Okay, I think we're recording, and we have the screen ready. I wrote this page kind of like as a diving board to go to the exams. There's a web assign take-home portion of calling it that has no time limits, and the proctored portion you can access through here. As 2 people have taken it so far, 3, I think 3 people have taken it so far, and you have 3 attempts at it. And so we're we're hoping that this works out okay. The proctored portion, or the proctored quiz, I think there's still a handful of people that have not taken it, and so I think they're having issues with their webcams or something. So so I'm hoping that you practice using your Proctorio with that quiz. That would be an assignment. Well, I guess it would be under announcements. Oh, you can get it. You can get to it through assignments, it looks like. Oh, can you? I don't know. I think we need to move the proctored portion onto exam number 2. So let me do that. and you should be able to access the proctored portion through through the assignments page. Okay. So the exams are supposed to be due on Thursday. I think technically our exam was supposed to be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and I had to do Wednesday, but I put it on Thursday. So I don't know if would extending it help. Yes, to what? To Friday? So I need to start going over new material on probably on Wednesday and Thursday. So I will keep the web assign part due on Thursday, and let us extend the due date for just the proctored portion. We'll extend it to the 17th. Okay. So you have three attempts at it. You should actually try taking an attempt before Friday the 17th, because if you take your first attempt on Friday the 17th and there's not going to be time for you to be able to adjust the way you're thinking, the way you're studying, and the way you're approaching this test. So make sure you take advantage of the 3 different attempts and opportunities. The other thing I wanted to discuss and make sure you got, let me see if I can go and look at this from your point of view, student view. What are you seeing here? If you go under assignments, we have some quizzes that I need to fill in here, I think. So the quizzes that you took, I thought there's a fruit quiz. So last time we talked about fruits, and then the fruit quiz is actually setting up your inequalities for triple integrals in cylindrical and spherical coordinates. So if you take the quiz, I don't know if anybody's done this yet, there's an actual video, and there's actual pictures and an animated GIF that that tries to describe whatever it is that we're describing in terms of the fruit. So this is a tangerine, a radius 1, and there's 1 out of 10 segments, and then this particular segment is against a positive x-axis. So you can see the graph here. You can't manipulate and change it, but there's this rotating animated GIF here. It's hard to see, but based on those, you should be able to come up with the what do you call it? The limits of integration. So, for example, in this particular scenario, what do you think we should do here? Should this be in spherical coordinates, or should this be in cylindrical coordinates? Okay, so I probably want to go spherical for this, because the tangerine is coming from a sphere, and now it's coming from a sphere. I need to figure out what rho is. And then phi, and and theta. So I'm leaving space here right now. I'm not filling this in yet. So what is the row going from? -1 to 1? I think we want to go from 0. Remember that rho, just like r, should always be positive, and this has radius 1, and so we're probably going to want to go from 0 to 1. And then phi, phi, remember, is the positive, from the positive x-axis or z-axis going down. You can't see my finger. Oh, there it goes. From the positive z-axis going down. Oh, can't see it because of the background. So 0 pi would be good. 0, and then here you'd put pi and just spell it out. And then theta goes from, I know the graph's going too fast, but sorry. But you can look at the video, you can pause the video and stuff. I don't know if anybody's actually done this. By the way, the video is one continuous 20-minute video. And so what we want to do, what you want to do is you want to stop it when it's done with that particular problem. And then when you go on to the next problem, the video will automatically start with that problem. So there's a bunch of guesses for theta going from 0 to pi over 4 to pi over 6. So what I want you to do is look at the segments. There are 10 segments in this orange, or in this tangerine. So you have to imagine that you have 2 pi, the whole thing's 2 pi, the whole thing is 2 pi, and then you're breaking off and you're splitting it up to 10 equal pieces. Pi over 5. So it's like 2 pi divided by 10, and that's going to be 1 piece. And since it starts at the positive x-axis, we're going to start with 0. And then 2 pi over 10, or pi over 5. So you can, if you want, submit your answer just by spelling out these things. Or if you want to, if you want to mess around with this, you're going to be a math or physics major, or you might be interested in actually, you're not even learning LaTeX here, you're just kind of typing in some information. So you can press this button. This button allows you to insert a math equation. So like for the first one, if you insert this math equation, you can say 0 and then less than or equal to. Well, you can look for the less than equal to symbol. I guess that would be relationships. Less than or equal to. And then rho is a Greek letter. You can look for rho. And then less than or equal to again. And then 1. So just type the 1 in. And you can insert that equation. So you can be fancier if you want using these equations. During this quiz or even on the test. The second one is phi going from 0 to pi. So now let's do that insert equation again. And if you're going to go from 0, so click on that, 0. And then if you look at the relation and then you hover over this thing, it says \LE. So LE stands for less than or equal. So instead of clicking on that, if you want, you can type \LE space, and then it'll automatically do that symbol for you. And the Greek letters, they're really just spelled out. So phi is \PHI. So I could do \PHI for phi and then space. backslash LE for less than or equal to backslash PI for pi. And so that's a slightly quicker way of getting to that. And then, so the other one is theta going from 0 to pi over 5. So let's try it again. So by the way, you can go to advanced view, and then you can literally just type in all the LaTeX command here, and then you'll see your results in the bottom. So let's try this again. So 0 backslash LE. So notice down in the bottom here, you can see the result, but as you're typing it in, it'll just remain what it is. I need to put a space here. I need to do theta, so backslash theta, and then that gives me the theta symbol, space, backslash LE, less than or equal to again, and then space. Now I need to make a fraction. So there's two ways to do this. One is just do the pi over 5, and it'll look like that, which is fine. But if you want to make it look like an actual fraction with one on top of the other, you have to actually know the command for this, and that is backslash frac and curly braces for the top, backslash pi, close curly braces, and then curly braces for the bottom, 5, close curly braces, and then you'll have that. So you can get that same information from the basic, I think. If you click on basic, they have fractions here. Yeah, they have fractions here. So the frac, if you hover over that again, it's backslash frac, and then it's the numerator in curly braces, and then denominator in curly braces. So insert the equation. So you could submit whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to, like I said, dive into equation editing and LaTeX and stuff like that, you can mess around with this equation editor, or you can just submit it as spelling things out. That's fine too. Okay. So this thing is just going to go one problem per page. There's 10 of them. So you go to the next one, and then this thing will pick up. It's the same video, like I said, but it'll pick up on problem number 2. So if you go to problem number 2, or if you click on that, it starts off with problem number 2. And then you can listen to the audio and all that stuff. Again, some pictures describing what it is I'm trying to describe with the fruit. And then you type in your solutions. Okay. All right, so that's the fruit quiz. Normally I would do this quiz in class, where you guys just take out a piece of paper and then fill in the limits of integration as I cut the fruit, and then at the end of the class we can have some, watermelon, pineapple, cantaloupes, and oranges to share. But social distancing, so not doing that this year. Okay. Any questions? Time limit, I did not put a time limit on this. And Proctorio is not needed for this. So, so you could take your time and do this aside from the deadline, which is, oh, you have to actually submit quiz when you're done. Don't submit until you're done, because you have to be done before you submit. Let me see how many attempts you have. I'm going to leave student view. So there's no time limit for this, and this is due on the 14th. The idea is that, oh, that's tomorrow. The idea is that you want to do this before you do your test. Oh, boba would have been good, but mango, yeah, I don't know. Longans would be like a cantaloupe, a hole in the middle. Like cheese. Oh yeah, jackfruit would be good too. Except, you know, those would be more ellipsoidish. And since we're not going over that last section, we're not going to do it. You guys had jackfruit, by the way? That's good. Don't give them any more ideas. Well, the ideas you give me would be for next year, so you can screw those people over. Okay, so back to what else is due. So there's that quiz. I'm wondering if people are still having issues. If people are still having issues with Proctorio, and I wanna give it a try to see what you need to do. Yeah, I like jackfruit, but I don't like durian. All right, student view again. And let's take one of these quizzes. Fruit quiz. This one is Proctorio. So when you do this, I think when you're ready, you take the quiz. So I can't do it because I'm the instructor. I can't even pretend to do it as a pretend student. So I have to be an actual student. But the idea is that you need to download Proctorio and install it as an app. And you need to be using, what's that called? This browser, Google Chrome. Because I think Proctorio only works with Google Chrome. There were some issues with RAM, not having enough RAM in your system. I don't know exactly how to cure that. And if you're still having issues with that, just send me another email if you know, I know you sent me emails before, some of you having issues with that information. And so, if you absolutely can't get it to work, then send me an email. We'll try to arrange something. All right. Now, let's get out of student view again. Okay, so I do want to mention honors because people have been asking, and just right now, right before class, I uploaded a project. And so if you go down to the bottom of our modules page, homepage, and there's a new PDF of choices. And so there's like, I think there's 6 possible projects to do. I know, finally, right? There's 6 possible projects to do. And so you're gonna have to choose one of those projects, and then you can either write a paper, so that would be a document, or put everything on a PowerPoint or Google Slides. And then you're going to need to record yourself presenting this, so you don't have to present it to the class, but instead you'll present it in a video, present it to me, going through the slides or going through your document, explaining all the steps that you took. And for this, as an honor student, you need to be able to use the what do you call it? The equation editor. And so I think Google, what's that called? Docs. If you go to Google Drive. There should be an opportunity to create equations. You would go under insert and scroll. Where is it? Equation. Insert an equation. And there's some symbols here for the equation that you can use. So an integral, for example, of 0 there it goes, to 1. I'm using arrow keys, f of x dx. So I would expect you to be able to have these symbols down here. I think it's easier to do it on Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, but you can also do it here using Google, either the Google Docs, or you can do, what's that called, slides or something, if you want to do it as a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, there was another question for the proctoral exam. You can have multiple choice. You have to wait for the grade. So I think Sean mentioned it earlier, or somebody, Stephanie, one of those two. The thing is that the exam itself, so the proctored portion of the exam has problems that you have to type in, and like in Canvas they call them essay questions, but you know, it's like free response questions, and so the program does not automatically grade those questions. So the program focuses on grading multiple choice and true false and multiple selection problems. And so because of that, you're not going to get your actual grade until I grade it, which I probably won't grade it until after it's all due. So if you like fill in the free response questions and feel good about it, you can think about adding those questions or adding those points to your total and assume that that's what you're going to get. So that's how you can gauge whether or not you should retry it again or whatever. So I don't know exactly how many free response questions there are, but it's not all like that. There's maybe, I think there's 15, 16 questions. Okay, so if close to half.
Professor.
I think there's less free response questions than true, false, and multiple choice.
Professor.
So there's more multiple choice and true, false questions. Okay.
Professor Lapuz. Hi, I had a question.
Oh yeah, sorry, I had it on mute, so go ahead.
If I take the exam 3 times, not knowing which one will be the highest grade, will you take the highest of those 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm realizing that my headset isn't even connected. That's why I couldn't hear you. All right. Yeah, that's a lot of grading. You should see my, I have like 100 and something students for my online stats class. And so I have to look at all those. Okay, anything else we need to discuss regarding what's due, the grades? So I think Canvas does a pretty good job organizing your assignments for you. If you go to assignments and sort by due date, you can see the due dates, which mine isn't sorted like that. So you have to get yours to be sorted that certain way. Oh, extra credit. Let's see. There was an extra credit problem for exam 2. This one, I think I put 1 point extra credit. Let's go ahead and make that a 2 point extra credit. Two extra credit, 2 points extra credit. Because in the end, there's going to be 5 points extra credit. And so this will account for 2 points, and then the other 3 points would be a write-up, just like you did last time, or most of you did last time. Some of you didn't do it. I don't know why. So I'll just say complete or incomplete. So there's a possibility of getting 1 or maybe 2 points. If you don't, show everything, then and then you submit something, I might still give you 1 point. But it's a file upload, so the idea is that you look at this problem, and then you try to work it out. You can do this on a piece of paper or type it in a document and then copy and paste things. But I need to see drawings. I need to see an actual picture of things that of the region that you need to integrate over, and then the work that you would do to solve for it. So there's 2 parts of this. So we'll make it 2 extra credit points, and then you need to submit it. It looks like some people have already submitted it. This was due on the 11th. Let's go ahead and extend it to let's go on the 15th. Okay, I kind of wanted to do before no longer sharing screen. Wait, what? I don't know what happened. How long has it been not sharing? 5 minutes. Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened. Maybe I got disconnected again. I'm gonna get one of those Wi-Fi boosters, so I can do my class outside next week. So anyways, we were looking at the extra credit for exam number 2, and we just changed this to from 1 point to 2 points. So this will be 2 extra credit points. And this was due on the 11th, but we'll make it due on the 15th on Wednesday. So I'll say that. And then there's going to be another write-up similar to the write-up for the first exam, and that's going to be worth 3 extra credit points. So you have a total of 5 extra credit points that you can earn for this test. Okay. All right. Do I need to submit the extra credit again? No, if you already did it, then it's already done. I mean, if you want to look over it and make sure that you did everything correct, then you can resubmit, but you don't need to resubmit it. It'll just be the number of points. Okay. So so today I just wanted to clarify all those little things or big things, depending on how you want to look at it, and make sure that you understand what's coming up, what's due, and the things that we have just extended. And like I said, Canvas has a pretty good organizing way of sorting your stuff that's going to be due soon. So just keep an eye on those due dates. And a handful of people have already tried the proctored portion of the test, or maybe even the WebAssign portion. But I really encourage you to just give it a shot before the actual due date, which is now moved to the proctored portion is due on Friday, and the other portion, the web assigned portion, is due on Thursday. Now, there has been some talk in the chat. Should we call that chatter? There's been some chatter that the web assigned portion took a really long time. So you want to make sure you allocate that time for taking your test. Okay, which brings me to tomorrow. And Wednesday. So since tomorrow and Wednesday were going to be reserved for you taking the test in class, and now we're not taking the test in class, I was thinking of taking tomorrow off. By that, I mean, you can use tomorrow's time to actually do an attempt on the exam. So we won't have a formal class. On Thursday, I was thinking about starting the new section. So Thursday, tomorrow's Tuesday, so we can not have class tomorrow. I can still be on and answer questions, but I'm not going to have anything planned. Wednesday, I was thinking about starting chapter 16. So, or maybe Thursday. What do you guys think? Thursday, probably, right? So according to our schedule, we're supposed to start on Thursday. So let's do this. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so tomorrow, Tuesday, and the day after on Wednesday. So for those 2 days, I will plan to have Zoom meetings, but I'll just log in and answer any questions. So the Zoom might start at 12:45 and might finish half an hour later. So if you jump into Zoom like at around 1:15-ish and I'm not there anymore, then that means we probably answered questions and we were done. So if you have any last minute questions, you can join me in Zoom tomorrow at 12:45 and also on Wednesday at 12:45. Okay. And then on Thursday, even though some of you will still probably be working on the test, on Thursday we'll start chapter 16. Okay, as is what's written on the schedule. I don't know if that was grammatically correct, but that's our plan. Okay. All right. The other thing I wanted to, I didn't. I'm going through my email. I didn't type this up, and I was just kind of writing my notes as to what's going to be on the exam. I don't know if this makes sense, but it kind of gives some ideas of identifying level surfaces and chain rule and stuff like that. So directional derivative questions. So maybe I'll type this up a little bit neater and then post it in our notes for today as an outline for the what do you call it? For the proctored portion. So the proctored portion has 13 questions, and it goes on and it has like 16, I think. So there's a bunch of true false towards the end. So maybe I'll try to type this up and make it a little bit neater for you. And then, so this is the proctored portion. And then the web assigned portion, if you haven't seen it already, like I said, has 16 questions. calling it take home. Yeah, 16 questions. And they're like homework assignments, but you can't submit and check your answer per problem. So you have to go through the whole thing. And then at the end, press submit. So there's a couple of, there's a center of mass problem here. Some triple integrals and spherical coordinates and stuff like that. And for this, remember, it's open notes, open book. So just make sure you're able to do it correctly, to look up things if you need to, and also to you know, if you're doing a triple integral, maybe just throw that triple integral into Wolfram alpha and get your results so that you can, you know, a lot of them are not, they don't like decimals, they want the actual symbols. So you, I think Desmos does the decimal approximations of things, but Symbol Lab and Wolfram does the actual exact result. So make sure you you use one of those to be able to answer those questions. Okay, so 16 problems, and I think most of them are worth 3 points. The last two are worth 4 points. The last two are the triple integrals and spherical and cylindrical. Did you explain more of the part? That's right down. Yeah, I can explain that. Actually, I could talk a little bit about that now. This guy here. This is writing it into, oh, so the extra credit, I'll post the extra credit, the 3-point extra credit, probably sometime in Wednesday or Thursday. And so ideally you'd fill it out after you took the test. And I know some of you have taken the exams already, but I'll push it off till then. So it'll be up. All right, so this thing discusses the shapes and figures that you would look at when you do things in the different orders. So the dy, dz, dx is given here in the beginning, and then they want to know if you switch the orders. So there's 6 different permutations of the dx, dy, dz's, and then you put them in a different order. And so let me just go through the first one, or let me go through the dz, dx, dy one. And for that, I think it would be helpful if I took a look at that graph again. So I think there's also a video of this particular problem done, so you can view that. Uh-oh, what happened? It didn't take me to this thing. If I just copy it all. All right, so here's the figure, and there's a lot of options. I drew a bunch of lines here also, and so you kind of have to know what those different lines mean and what to take out and what to leave on. I'm going to take that box again. I don't like that box. So this is a shape that's being described, and then if I want to if, for example, I want to do the dz, dx, dy, that means I want to draw a line going up along the z-axis. So I'm going to go back to my figure. And then I have a bunch of lines here. These are just parametric lines. And so I'm going to take a look at the parametric line where z is the parameter, the t is in the parameter z. And so that's this line over here. This line is kind of multicolored right now, but we can, change the appearance of that line if you want. Use primary colors, make that line red, looks red. And then if you do the animation, you can see a little dot that's moving. It's really going slow. But the idea for that dot is for you to follow that dot and ask yourself, where is it going to enter the region? And then you need to describe the region in terms of z's. So it looks like it's going to enter the region in the bottom. So that's z is equal to 0. And then it's going to exit the region. Yep, z is equal to 0. And then it's going to exit the region at this curved space over here. So that curved space is z is equal to 1 minus x squared. So just following the work that was already done here, your limits are going to be z going from 0 to 1 minus x squared. So that's your inner limits. And once you do your inner limits, you're kind of just left with a two-dimensional region. And so the two-dimensional region is something that you would describe just by the graphs. By eliminating the z, you're looking at it just flat on the xy plane. And so you can try to view that here. If you look at it from the top, let's see if I do this right. Kind of tilted. I can never get this. I wanted the y straight up. Ugh. Stop. There, something like that. So the x going to the right, the y going up, and I see the region that I have here as if it was projected on the xy plane. It's just going to be this triangular region. And so crossing at 1 for x and 1 for y, so it has a negative slope. So that's probably 1 minus x. And so this graph over here has a 1 minus x, y equals 1 minus x. So if I'm integrating, if I'm going to integrate with respect to x first, I would need to draw a line parallel to the x-axis. So I think that line is being drawn here parallel to the x-axis. And that's the same thing as x equals 1 minus y. So that's your x limits from 0. Oops. I want my highlighter. From 0 to 1 minus y. And then the outer limits are constants. So the outer limits are just going to go, the last limits are y. So y is going to go from 0 to 1. And so that's how you set up your integral. Okay, so that's an integral with a z first. Now, in this particular problem, and I don't know how many other problems similar to this we have, but in this particular problem, if you integrate with respect to x first, there's going to be a lot of issues. There's going to be more issues here. And I don't know if your homework problem has this issue. And for that, let's take a look at the graph again. So I'm going to clear that line that we have and try to look at this from this version. Now, if I want to integrate with respect to x first, I'm going to look at the YZ plane like the shadow. And looking at it from the top, I can see that there's two different regions here. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. And so I have two lines that I have drawn here, not that one, this one and this one. So these two different lines, they both go in at the x equals 0 plane. They both go in here at the same plane. So that's x equals 0. But depending on which portion you are, you can either be coming out of this curved space or you could be coming out of the plane. So that's why this model, the drawing model, it's kind of important to see it from the different points of views so that you can see that there is going to be an issue here. And so when I did this, this is only dx, dy, dz. So with the dx, dy, dz, you actually have to set up two separate integrals. The two separate integrals would be when the first one comes out of the green graph, and then the second integral is when it comes out of the blue graph. Okay, so that's when it gets really tricky. And then also dx, dz, dy is going to give you the same issue. And I think dx, dz, dy is a little bit easier because in this scenario, we had to solve for one of the problems with a square root or something like that. And the other way, you didn't have to. So, so that's the plan. That's the scenario for that. It's a crazy problem, but I think the problems that you guys have in the homework is not as crazy as this. I don't think there's a case where you have to split an integral up into two separate integrals to find, you know, the limits of integration. So hopefully it'll be easier. Okay, that's the rundown on this problem. You can see the actual video of me solving this problem in Canvas. I think that would be home. This homework help video. This is where I posted all the extra. I think that one was 15.6. This is where I post the extra problems that I do after class. So you can see me walking and talking through that particular assignment. Okay. Any other questions? Theoretical exam, if I try the first attempt, I'm not sure, grading portion. Yes, so if you try it and then you want to ask about it, we can ask about it tomorrow. And if there's too many people, if we need to talk more privately, then we can discuss that as well, maybe at another time. But yeah, the idea is to give it a shot, and then send me feedback through email or whatever about what you think, and then you know, we'll try to communicate that way also. All right, anything else? Okay, so I'll set up Zoom conferences for tomorrow and the day after, and we'll plan to meet for those people who want to meet. And if you want to just use this particular time to dive into one or both portions of the exam, then that's okay. Can you confirm the dates that we're skipping class for the exam? We're gonna skip. Let me write this in the chat also because it'll be on record. So we will skip Tuesday. What's the date on Tuesday? The 14th. Tuesday 4/14 and Wednesday 4/15. So we'll skip those 2 days for you to work on exams. I will be available on Zoom for general questions. If you have specific questions, questions, you can email me. By the way, my email is rlapuz2@my.smccd.edu. So some of you guys have been emailing me in my lapuz@smccd.edu, but I want you to use the one that has a 2 in it. Okay, so I'll post this. It's in the chat now, and then I'll say we will resume chapter 16 class on Thursday, and that's 4/17, I think, right? (4/16). Okay, so that stuff is in chat, and I hope that's clear. Sharing screen there, spot EC. Yeah, after class ED. Okay, anything else? I have a double screen now, so I can look at your chats and stuff and not have it covered up in my screen. All right, so we'll call it a day for today. And then there's a few people that are going to stick around asking me questions. And so if we're done, we can be done. And then I'll have people share their screens. All right, guys, good luck. Give it a try. Make sure you try your work. Make sure you try the things. You got 3 opportunities at it, so. Okay, so for those people that are left, I'm right now I'm looking at Sylvia's question, and what do we have here? Oh, Sean left. I thought he was going to ask me a question. So Sylvia, I don't think this is an extra credit, right? I think this is a. Oh, the take-home part. Your answer looks okay, except it's marked wrong. So I don't see any. I mean, in terms of the syntax, I don't see any issues with the syntax. I think I got the correct one. Wrong answer. So I don't know exactly what the answer is. 16, 61, 2, 1, 7, 7. I'll have to take a look at the actual problem, and so I'll need to actually take a look at your test question. So why don't we do that? Okay. And then I'll send me an email, and then I'll take a look at your question that you actually did on the test. All right, Udip, do you want to share your screen? There's a couple of people here, so if that's okay with you. Can you? Do I need to give you permission? Did I stop sharing my screen? What's going on? Where's the Zoom meeting controls? I'll stop sharing. And then I'll say one participant can share at a time, advanced sharing options. Who can share? I'll put all participants. All right, cool, it's up. What's going on here? You know what?